The dessert that I thought we'd make today is pretty quick and simple. It's a Galician recipe which dates back to the 1500s, the times of one of Poland's greatest queens, Queen Anna Jagiellonka. And it is said that this Galician bundt cake was her favorite dessert. We need 1 cup of 2% milk, 1 cup of semolina, 3 eggs. We'll use 4 tablespoons of sugar. We'll need fresh ginger. We're going to cut this into 4 rather thick pieces later on. And then I'm also going to scrape out a little bit of vanilla bean from the stem of vanilla I have. We'll also need a pinch of salt. We'll need 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, a 1/4 cup of dried fruit. I'm going to use raisins for my bundt cake. And then finally, we can't forget, we also need a tablespoon of honey. Now we'll begin the cake batter by beating the egg whites. So we'll need to separate the egg whites from the egg yolk first. Now this is a sensitive process. You'll want to make sure you're not getting any of the egg yolk, because if you do, that might prevent the egg whites from achieving the right thickness later on in the process. Now in the middle of this process, you might also want to add just a pinch of salt to help the egg whites achieve the right thickness. Now you'll know that your egg whites are ready when they've achieved a very thick foamy consistency, but my grandmother, Babka, as we call her in Polish, also said that you can flip the bowl over, and if the egg whites don't fall out, that means they're ready. So I think I'm gonna be brave enough and give it a try. Ah! Looks good. I think we're ready. Now the next step of the process is to add your sugar. And so I'm going to take those 4 tablespoons of sugar and just mix them in one at a time, all the while mixing my egg whites. And then once that's done, I'm going to move over to my egg yolks and add those in one by one, just like I did with the sugar, also continuing to mix the whole time. I'm gonna start by mixing in the semolina. You can see that the batter is starting to get a lot thicker now. And then just add those raisins into the batter as the last step. To bake our cake, we'll need a medium-sized non-stick bundt cake pan. Smear butter all over the inside of the pan. Make sure that you're thoroughly getting into all of the creases. You can use breadcrumbs for this, but I'm just going to go ahead and use my leftover semolina. It works just as great. So just pour that all over the inside of the pan. And then we're going to pour the batter into our form. Now we'll place our cake in the oven set to 320 degrees Fahrenheit, and it'll bake for approximately 30 minutes. You'll want to check on it after about 20 to 25 minutes or so. You'll know when it's ready when it's achieved a golden brown color on the outside. You can also check by putting a toothpick into the cake. If it comes out clean, that means it's ready. The next step is to prepare the milky glaze that will moisten our bundt cake. I've already poured my cup of 2% milk into my saucepan here, and it's beginning to heat. So now I'm gonna go ahead and add the rest of the ingredients. I've scraped out the vanilla. Then again, we're using a teaspoon of cinnamon. I've set that aside in my little dish here. And then we'll add our 4 pieces of ginger. And then we cannot forget about our honey. All right, we can add a little bit of extra. It's okay to be hefty with our tablespoon here. All right, so we'll just continue stirring this and we'll let it heat through. We don't want to bring it to a boil because we don't want to lose any of the sweetness or the spices in here. You can really smell the medieval aromas in this glaze. Our cake is almost done, so we're going to prepare a topping for our bundt cake. And I've decided that we're going to make it chocolate today. We're going to crumble it all into the bowl, and then we'll just use a spatula to stir to help it melt. All right, beautiful. I think our chocolate topping is done. And now the best part, we get to decorate the cake. Add that glaze that we made a moment ago. We'll take our chocolate over here. So we'll just go ahead and scoop a little bit up at a time and then make zigzag movements over the cake. That looks like it should be enough. Bring the flavors and traditions of Poland home with Polana. Shop Polana.com to have your favorites shipped right to your door anywhere in the U.S.